Love lives here.
So, hey, how y'all doing? Good. You ready for this afternoon? Yes. Well, did you know that today is the National Day of Prayer? It's actually the unofficial National Day of Prayer. The real National Day of Prayer is in May. But today is the unofficial National Day of Prayer because it's also known as Super Bowl Sunday. And more people pray on this day in the United States than any other day, probably even more so than Christmas, because this is a big day for a lot of folks. So all those people that don't usually go to church or don't usually, get on their knees and pray, they are praying today. Many of them are praying that, either the Chiefs will win or the 49ers will win, right? They're praying one way or the other. The companies that are sponsoring all the ads, they're praying that, their ads will be successful and we'll go out and purchase their goods. So they're praying too, right? And the gamblers, they're praying that, they make a big, that they get a big payoff today, right? Everybody's praying today. And maybe most importantly, the Swifties are praying that Taylor Swift makes it in time for kickoff from Tokyo. I know that my niece is definitely praying for that today. All right? So, I know she'll be there because, she's a billionaire. She can have her own plane. She can get, I'm like, she'll be there. But did you know that the sports books in Vegas are, there are odds as to whether she'll make it in time, and you can actually bet on whether she'll make it in time, or if she'll even show up? Yes. It's amazing what we'll do, right? So today is a national day of prayer, and what better day to talk about our form of prayer, affirmative prayer, or also known as spiritual mind treatment. And this is moving and continuing with our series of New Roots, and that is looking at the 10 core concepts of Centers for Spiritual Living, of Science of Mind and Spirit. It's looking at the 10 core concepts and looking at it in a new way. So last week we talked about seed, soil, plant. We talked about tending your garden, and Sandra did a marvelous job, did she not? Yes. So thank you, love. So today we're going to then show you how to use that creative process. And so that's all been building on itself, right? The past few weeks have all been building on itself. So when we talk about accepting our good, right, where we have to be receptive, we have to be open to our good. And we've been talking about understanding that spirit is all there is. We agree with that? There is nothing but spirit. Spirit is all there is. Spirit is in all, through all, as all. It is the underlying energy that some people talk about it as energy, universal energy. It is that love, intelligence that is back of everything that brought forth all of life, all of creation. It is source and substance. There is nothing that we could be made of other than this one source. All of life, all of creation, the entire universe is the manifest body of the one, right? We know that. Yes? In agreement. Okay. So if we're all one, if that is true, then each one of us has to be the embodiment, the emanation, the impartation of that one life, that one expression. So each one of us has to be divine incarnate. I know that was a little troublesome for y'all a few weeks ago. I am divine, I can do it, but I am the divine. Ooh, that feels sacrilegious. That feels, and that's just our programming, people. That's just our programming, all right? It's just what society has told us that we should or should not accept. But we know that we are divine, do we not? Yes. I am divine. Let's hear you say it. I am divine. All right, let's hear you say, I am the divine. I am the divine. Is that getting easier? Yes, a little bit. Some of you are like, nope. That's all right. Keep practicing. That's why we practice, right? That's why we practice. So, if spirit creates absolutely everything, and we are the microcosm of the macrocosm, and we use that soul, that spirit, mind, body, and we can create, we co-create by what it is that we are planting into that creative medium, what we're planting into the law, the ideas that we're planting into the law, into the creative medium that only ever says yes, then we get the form, we get the resulting form, right? So now you're caught up. So now we start from where we are today. So the tool that we're going to be using today is we're going to be using spiritual mind treatment, also known as affirmative prayer. Now, when I first came across this term, spiritual mind treatment, back in the day, I was like, spiritual mind treatment, that's weird. That just sounds weird. It sounds like you're going to be brainwashed. I don't know. It's just like, ugh, you know. And my minister at the time says, well, couldn't your brain use a little good washing? I'm like, okay, maybe. Thank you. Right? And still, I was like, all right. I was like, no, I prefer affirmative prayer. I prefer affirmative prayer. But as I've been thinking about this over the years, and there's the treat and move your feet, right? So who here doesn't like treats? There's goodies all over the back there. Who here doesn't like treats? We all love treats, don't we? I know my dogs, Oliver and Paisley, our dogs Oliver and Paisley love treats, right? They get their treats and they're like, woohoo, and the tail is just a wagging, and depending on which type of treat it is, maybe they're jumping and stuff. They're so excited to have these treats, even though they might have just had one an hour ago. Because, you know, they played daddy off of daddy, right? No, daddy, I didn't get one, And goes the other one, and like, no, daddy, I didn't get one either. Yeah, So, and we all know who the weak one is, and it's not me. I love you. So, they all love the treats. And what do our dogs do with the treats? You give them a treat, and then they, boom, they run. So they're getting their treat, and then they're moving their feet, right? So that they can go eat their treat in peace, so the other one doesn't get it, right? A little competition between the two, right? So our souls, our spirits, our minds love treats too. And really, what is a spiritual mind treatment? What is an affirmative prayer other than a feast of treats, of positive affirmations that we are just treating our mind, treating our consciousness, treating our spirit, treating our soul with? So when you think of a spiritual mind treatment, you think of it as like, the favorite treat that you have. Some of y'all like salty, some of y'all like sweet, some of y'all like sweet and salty, or we go in cycles. Like, okay, salty, now I need something salty, now I need something sweet, now I need something salty, now I need chocolate, whatever. All right, so it's a treat. So when we talk about spiritual mind treatment, what we're really doing is it's a feast of treats, of positive affirmations that we are treating our mind, treating our consciousness with, and our mind and our consciousness and our spirit goes, yeah, that feels good. I'm enjoying that. And then we have the opportunity to be like Oliver and Paisley and take that treat and then run and take some action, right? Move our feet. Take some kind of action on it. So it's a both and. So you just heard the song, The Treatment, by Margaret Owens. Margaret Owens got her start, by the way, at Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. And that treatment song, I don't know if you know this or not, that treatment song was her, her project for the end of her foundations class. Yeah, and so she's now become a New Thought artist, just like Eddie Watkins Jr., who also got his start at Greater Las Vegas. We were doing good back in the day there. Anyway, they're still doing good, but, I digress. So, that in that treatment, you hear the 5 steps of treatment. So there are 5 steps of treatment, okay? 5 steps of treatment, 5 steps of affirmative prayer. Here we go. You ready? You got your notepad. You got your note paper. First one is recognition. God is, right? It's recognizing that God is all there is. First one is recognition. Second one is unification. I am. So we've got God is, I am. Third step of treatment is realization. Realization means to make something real, to realize, to make real. So realization is I know. And then the fourth step is thanksgiving, which is I am grateful. Not I'm grateful to, but I'm grateful for, or I'm grateful that. Never to, right? And then the last one is release. I release and let it go, right? And what we're doing is we're releasing it into the law that Sanja talked about last week. We're releasing it into that creative medium. We're releasing it into the soil, and we're letting it go. Meaning that we are not gardeners that go out there and check every other day and say, hey, little seed, how you doing? And digging it up to check on whether it's sprouting or not. Because the more you disturb it like that, right, the less chance of it really taking hold because you're disturbing its environment. So we release and we let it go. So this spiritual mind treatment, or this treat, right, is actually the way that we use the creative process to plant the idea in, which is the top, the spirit. We use that to plant the idea into the creative medium, into the law, so that we're actively tending to our garden. We're planting the seed into the soil, and we're letting spirit do its thing. We're letting law do its thing. We're letting God do its thing, right? And so we let it go, and then we receive the bounty, or we receive the plant, whatever the intention was. Good? Liking that? All right. So, how much we are able to accept is based on our belief and our faith and our acceptance of it. So, belief has a lot to do with it. So, I can say, I do this all the time, I can say, I got $1 million, I got $1 million, I got $1 million. There's no belief behind that, so guess what? I don't have $1 million. Right? And there might be faith that, spirit is always producing and is ever good. As Ed said, I am good enough and I am God enough. Right? That was inspired, let me tell you. When you said that, I was like, whoa. Anyway. So it's about being open and available to receive our good. Like I wrote in the email, none of us went to Santa Claus initially and said, Santa, I don't know what I want, so I'm happy with whatever you put under the tree. No. We went to Santa and said, I want a certain thing. What is it from Christmas Story? Red Ryder BB gun, right? He wanted a Red Ryder BB gun, right? Oh, but you're going to poke your eye out with it, kid, right? But so we go and we ask Santa for exactly what we want. We know exactly what we want, and then we have the expectation that we're going to get it. We accept with some degree of faith that, yeah, it's going to show up underneath the tree, right? But somewhere along the line, we forgot about that piece, that the piece of accepting our good, the piece of naming our good, the piece of like being willing and having the faith to accept and receive. But in that sense, the universe is like Santa. In fact, Santa comes from the way the universe works, right? That we are putting into the law exactly what it is we wish to receive, with accepting that we will receive it, the faith that we will receive it, and also the willingness and the openness to receive it. Because if we don't have the openness to receive it, then we're not going to receive it. If we don't have the belief, we don't have the faith, we don't have the willingness, we're not going to receive it. Just like, still sitting here waiting for $1 million. Right? So it is how willing you are to receive, what you're willing to receive and accept. What gets in the way, as Sandra was talking about last week, what can get in the way are the weeds, right? the weeds, our limiting beliefs, get in the way. And so what we're doing is we're digging up those limiting beliefs, and we're replacing those limiting beliefs, with new ideas, with new desires. That way it is flushing out, it is cleaning out those unconscious beliefs that are keeping us in the way, or that are in the way, the obstacles that are in the way, and then opening up to something greater. Yes? Okay. So Ernest Holmes said that you treat until you see a demonstration. A demonstration is a manifestation. Whatever it is that you have desired to experience, that you are actually experiencing that thing. That is what Ernest had said. But then there's also the thought that one treatment, one and done. That we don't need to do more than one. All right, so there's conflicting information here, right? It feels that way anyway. The one and done is, if you have that faith, if you have that openness, if you have that willingness to believe, the willingness to accept, then yes, one and done is good. One and done could be sufficient. And also one and done, meaning that treatment is not rote. Meaning it's not like the Lord's Prayer where we memorize we memorize something in childhood and then we just say that prayer over and over and over and over and over again. That's not the one and done. That would be one and done, right? It's just the same thing over and over and over again. You can treat for the same experience multiple times, and your treatment is done when you actually begin to experience it, or when you actually experience it. So that is the difference between the one and done and the unfolding. Does this make sense? Alyssa, you're knitting your eyebrows. You're knitting yours too. All right. So you continue to treat. So maybe you treat daily until you get the new job or until you get the $1 million or whatever it is. When you have convinced yourself and your consciousness, you continue to treat, you continue to give it that luscious feast of positive affirmations until you have reached your fill, and wow, there it is right in front of you. Okay? But it's not the same treatment day in and day out. It's not saying the Lord's Prayer over and over and over again. So the treatment might be similar, the words or the phrases might be familiar or similar, but they're never exactly the same. But if you were to have the faith and have the belief and have the acceptance, there is a possibility that one single treatment would bring about manifestation or demonstration. Does that help? Yeah. It helps. Okay. All right, good. So I'm going to go ahead and do this because we're going to play. You ready? Okay. Who here has something they want treatment for? All right, James, come on up. Give it up for James. Hi. Yes, thank you. All right, so stand close enough so they can hear you in the mic here too. So, James, what would you like treatment for?
More order.
More order. So that?
So that I can have more abundance.
So that?
So that I can have more joy.
So that?
So that I can share more joy with everybody else.
So that?
So I can have more joyful, fun stuff.
So that?
So that I just feel joyful and good.
Okay, so I feel joyful and good. So that you feel joy, so that you experience joy? Mm-hmm. All right. See where we started off? And see where we ended up. Right? We started off more superficially with order, right? A little bit more order, but what's behind order? What's underneath that? Why do you want order? What is coming down to it? And it comes down to wanting to experience joy. So, yes, we can treat for the order, right? It was order. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We can treat for the order in his life, and what we're really getting to and the feeling that we're wanting to insert here is the feeling of joy. Because if James is experiencing joy so that he can share it with the world, so he can share it and so he can experience more joy, what's going to naturally happen as James is experiencing more joy? Order is going to follow. There will be order that follows. So yes, we can treat for the Ferrari, right? But what is that really about, right? And it's really about joy here for James, right? So order comes to joy. Does that make sense? Thank you, James. Yes. Yes, you can mention order and joy in the treatment because he said starting off with order and then going to joy, right? And so we want to pull out those qualities of spirit, those higher qualities, and order is one of them, and joy is one of them, right? So we want to pull those out and then focus on those to do those. Okay, so James, just stay right here for me. All right, so here we go. Everybody breathe in and out. So recognizing here and now that there is one divine order, one divine presence, one divine love intelligence that is back of all things, I know that this one order, this harmony, is joy itself. And it brought forth all of life, all of creation in perfect order, in perfect harmony, and in absolute joy, loving and expressing bliss itself. And as I know that this is true of spirit, I know that this is true of me. Right where I am, order resides. Right where I am, joy is effervescent and overflows. And as I know that this is true of me, I know that this is true of my beloved James. That right where he is, order is. His life is in perfect order, perfect harmony, because it can be no other way. I recognize that joy is the essence of his soul, because that is the who of who he is. And so I speak my word here and now for James, knowing that he is the beloved, knowing that he is joy incarnate, that every ounce of his being, every cell in his body vibrates with this joy, vibrates with this love, and it is an absolute and perfect order just as it is. And so as I know that this is true of him in his physical state, his mental state, and his spiritual state, I also know that this is true in the state of his affairs. That all that he interacts with, all that he does, each action he takes, each thought that he has is in divine right order, in absolute perfect harmony and joy itself. It is joy overflowing, and he gives this joy, the joy that he is, and he shares it widely, and it is well received by all who are in his presence. And so I give thanks for James. I give thanks for his willingness. I give thanks for his willingness to be the power and the presence of joy in this moment and to receive this joy, the joy that he is. And I release this word now into the law, knowing it is done, knowing it is so. I let it be, and together we say, and so it is. Thank you, James. You take that now. Yes. See how that worked? So the first step is recognition. God is. We're only talking about God in that first step. Second step is I am. I unify is unification. I unify myself with the divine nature. Third step is I know. That's when I said I speak my word now for James. I know that he is. I know that he has. I know that he, right? I'm knowing the truth. What we're doing in that third step is we're knowing the truth. Then we're simply giving thanks. I didn't give thanks to God for James. I gave thanks for James, right? I gave thanks for the joy that he is. And then I released it into law. Got it? Good, good, good. All right, we're going to go to table time. It's table time now. So I'm going to invite you to go to these questions that you have here. There's a question about faith. There's a question about receiving or accepting your good. And there's another one too. And we'll have it up on the screen here in a minute. But we're going to go to table time for the next 20 minutes or so. All right. So Homework. Homework. Right? Tomorrow's not here to pick on, but homework. Constance, homework. All right. So, this week, I invite you to use the form of spiritual mind treatment. God is, or spirit is, if God's a trigger word for you, that's fine. Or universe is, if universe is a better word for you. Whatever word works. Josie is, whatever it is, right? So, God is, I am, and then treat your mind with lots of yummy, delicious, positive affirmations. Positive affirmations means they are positive. They are present tense. They are pertinent to your life, right? And they are practical for the most part. But positive affirmations. And so I know, I am, I accept, I claim, I believe, I feel. All those are positive ways to start off your affirmations. Okie doke? All right, and then you're going to finish it off with, I'm grateful, I release, and I let it go. So God is, Spirit is, I am, I know, and then give yourself a feast of positive affirmations. I am grateful, and I let it go. Sound good? All right, and so it is. All right, so let's come together in consciousness. I invite our practitioners and our core council members to please stand and surround the sanctuary. All right, and so here we go. Taking a nice deep breath in and out. Breathing in the breath of God that has breathed life into all of life, all of creation itself. Recognizing that spirit is the only thing there is. It is the all in all, through all, as all. It is the one life, the one power, the one presence, the one love intelligence that is back of everything, that brings forth from itself the divine substance and source that is all of creation itself, and so much more. And I recognize that I am one with this one, that the very who of who I am is spirit itself, is this divine, beautiful, loving, gorgeous, magnificent presence that is in all, through all, as all. And I live, move, breathe, and have my being in and as it, and it as me. And as I recognize that this is true of me, I recognize that this is true of everyone gathered here this day. Each one is one with the one, inseparable from it. And so I know that each one is the microcosm of the macrocosm. So I speak my word here and now, knowing that that which we have placed into law this day, through the power of treating our own minds, treating our own consciousness, that we have laid into consciousness, that we have put into the soil, that we have shared with one another as our deepest desire for this week, as what it is we wish to experience and express this week. I know that it is made manifest here and now because we already are it. And so we open our hearts, we accept our good, we accept and we believe and we know that we know that we know that we are good enough, that we are God enough. And so we say yes. We say yes to the bounty that is already present in our lives. We say yes to the everlasting, eternal good that is always available to each and every one of us, and that it is done to us as we believe, in the moment that we believe, in the moment that we know fully and completely, it is demonstrated. And so we say yes to it. We accept our good here and now, giving thanks for the bounty, giving thanks for the love, giving thanks for the joy, giving thanks for the harmony, the order, the life itself. I release this word into the law, into that creative medium that only says yes, and I let it be, and so it is.